Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this edition of LCPS TV's broadcast of Friday Night Football here in Las Cruces, New Mexico, where the Onate Knights are about to take on the Gadsden Panthers. Knights looking to get their first win of the season. I'm here with my co-commentator, Cameron Castillo. How you feeling, Cameron?
Max, I'm excited for this game. You know, we're seeing something right now with the Onate Knights being 0-4 on the season, something that Onate fans aren't typically used to. They have a good shot tonight of breaking that losing streak to open the season.
Certainly, Cameron. And, you know, with new head coach Scott Valise down there, it's been kind of a struggle. They switched from a pretty run-heavy, ground-solid offense last year to this very spread, pass-heavy offense headed by starting quarterback Aaron Sanchez. And it's been a pretty tough adjustment. We saw that they got their butts kicked pretty hard to a Trisco Heritage. I believe the final score was somewhere in the ballpark of like 0-49, Cameron, a couple weeks ago.
Well, Max, there's no doubt that offensive struggles have been a part of the losing efforts of this team through their first 4 games, but you have to take a look at their defense. Through 4 contests, the Onate Knight defense has allowed 212 points. That's an average of 53 points a game. Their secondary, with the exception of Monroe Young, who's a standout player, has been very lackluster, and they'll need to turn things on tonight in order to get the win.
Exactly, Cameron. Now, looking over to the Gadsden side of the field, they only have one more win than Onate does. They're 1-3 on the season and have allowed 130 points overall. That's an average of 32.5 points per game. So defense not fantastic, but significantly better than the Knights defense. And you talked about Monroe Young, Cameron. He's certainly going to be a standout player tonight. His older brother, Matt, is now at the State University of New Mexico playing for those Fighting Aggies.
You know what this is going to remind me of, Max? I have a feeling that we could be set up for a shootout, an old-fashioned Big 12, kind of like a Mike Leach at Texas Tech air raid type game, because these teams, both of them, cannot seem to find a way to keep their opponents out of the end zone. Something has to give tonight. Absolutely,
Cameron. Now we have just about 5 minutes and 40 seconds left till kickoff right now as the Onate Knights are about to take on the Gadsden Panthers. Now, I talked about Aaron Sanchez earlier, Cameron. It's going to be very interesting to see how their offense develops because, like I said, they're operating under this completely new scheme. And although Scott Valise is a very experienced coach and Aaron Sanchez does have quite a bit of experience as well on the field, you know, when you can't necessarily connect with your receivers and get your O-line in sync, things are not going to go well.
And the last Onate game we called, I believe that was 2 or 3 weeks ago, their Friday night game. We saw a great play from the wide receivers. They do have some good playmakers in Brandon Valise and Jaden Diaz, but the offensive line did not give Aaron Sanchez enough time to make a rational decision. He was forced out of the pocket on many occasions, and he had to make untimely throws.
Absolutely, Cameron. And we're just getting started right now. It looks like down there the national anthem is just getting started right now, so we're going to go off air, and then we'll be coming back to you in just a little bit.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for our presentation of the colors by the Onate High School Navy Junior ROTC and playing of our national anthem by the Onate Royal Knight Regiment under the direction of Mr. Sean Silva. Officials for tonight's game. Referee, Mike Rundell. Linesman, Dane Caro. Umpire, Charles Divide. Line judge.
Alrighty then, big shout out to the Onate Knights Onate Regiment for that fantastic performance of the national anthem, and also shout out to their ROTC program for that impressive presentation of colors, Cameron. So about 2 minutes and 30 seconds out from the start of this game here, Cameron. What's the main thing that you think that Onate is going to need to improve on tonight? Obviously, they had many difficulties, but primarily in order to take down these Gadsden Panthers.
With this being their opening District 3 6A game for the 2017 campaign, the number one thing Onate needs to focus on is setting the tone for the rest of the district season, for the rest of the season within the district, in order to try and get that wild card playoff spot. They're going to be hard-pressed to do so with the 0-4 record to start the season, but if they can get some positive momentum tonight, especially when it comes to starting to click on offense, they might be in for some luck later on in the season.
Absolutely, Cameron. Now the Onate High School Knights are going to take the field right now. Not a huge turnout for the Knights, but the fans who are here are pretty energized to see them take this W, Cameron. Now, the Knights are 0-4. It hasn't been a great year for Las Cruces schools, Cameron, when it comes to football. Centennial High School is 1-3. They're going to be taking on Hobbs later tonight. Mayfield High School is also 0-4, taking an L to Volcano Vista last week. Cruces seems to be the only school that's performing well.
That's right, Max. It's Mark Rudy, the Sun News reporter for high school sports and the Aggie basketball team, called it in a commentary article a weird year, and I completely agree with him. When do you see traditional powerhouses like Onate start the season, like Mayfield, start the season like they have so far? Jim Bradley has some problems across the way over at Mayfield High School, and Onate and Centennial can't seem to get anything clicking. The teams aren't looking like they're meshing together very well. But as I said before to your previous question, tonight is a great opportunity for the Knights to get into some rhythm before the district season really kicks into high gear.
Certainly, Cameron. I think it's a rebuilding year for a lot of these schools. I mean, you have, just like we were talking about earlier, Onate has their new head coach, Scott Valise, after Brent Jaquest left. And, they lost a lot of key players like Matthew Young. They have his younger brother, Monroe. But still, and then, also Mayfield High School, they lost starting quarterback Tori Laughlin, receiver Stephen Gay, running back Isaac Vance, who went to go play at Kent State in Ohio. And Centennial High School as well lost a lot of seniors who were pretty impressive last year. So definitely a rebuilding year this year, but certainly different than previous ones.
I'll tell you what, when we were here 2 weeks ago calling the Onate Atrisco Heritage game, it was Onate's homecoming, and really the only bright spot, aside from the wonderful Royal Knight Regiment band that we saw all night from Onate, was the play of number 24, Monroe Young. That kid is a ball hawk. His closing speed is insane. It reminds me a lot of an Eric Reed or even a Malik Hooker, who the Colts took in the first round of last year's draft. He closes with tremendous speed, and all around, the kid's a terrific player, has a lot of raw athleticism, and I'm excited to see how he takes it to the Panthers tonight.
Absolutely, Cameron. He has some spectacular physicality. And now we're going to get things kicked off here at the Field of Dreams. The Onate Knights are going to be kicking off with the Gadsden Panthers. 12 minutes on the clock. It's time for Friday Night Lights, baby. Now kicking off for the Onate Knights is number 4, Jared Rico, the senior.
Rico's always been a consistent kicker going back to last year. I like watching him play.
Definitely. I believe he's also left-footed, Cameron, which is rather interesting.
That's a little weird to watch, but he's pretty consistent, and that's all that matters.
Absolutely. It works if you work it. All right. Rico's going to kick off as the Knights get things started here at the Field of Dreams. That kickoff is going to be sent to the end zone. That will be a touchback. The Gadsden offense is going to start at their own 20-yard line. Panthers are going to come out into the field here.
So immediately you see a lapse in film preparation right there. I think Gadsden was expecting to take the ball around the 9 or 10-yard line and run upfield with it. Clearly they didn't scout the fact that Jared Rico, anytime he kicks off, he's usually going to kick it 10 or 12 yards deep into the end zone. You have to be prepared in that way.
Absolutely. All right, 12 minutes on the clock here. 4 receivers out for Gadsden. Sends a man in motion. Quarterback with the fake handoff. Sends it out to number 36, who's going to run it forward for a short gain of 1, possibly 2 yards.
Short gain on the play.
Now, Cameron, that quarterback is number 11, Marcos Ramos, for the Gadsden High School Panthers.
Number 11, you said, Max?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. We don't have rosters here. Trying to sort things through.
He's the senior. Now we have sends a man in motion once again. Ramos fakes the handoff, gives it off to 36 once again, who's going to run it forward for a Gadsden High School first down. Bit of a dog pile there, still trying to push him to the ground.
And that's good, Max. You have to be able to set the tone early on in a football game. And what they're trying to do here is just establish their dominance on the ground, in the trenches. And who knows, if they find success in that arena, they'll be able to open it up through the play-action pass.
Now that previous run was courtesy of number 36, Andres Santea. All right, now once again with 4 receivers out, seeming to be mimicking the same play, sends a man in motion, fakes, actually hands it off to number 2, the running back, receiver, who's going to shovel forward for 5-yard gain for the Panthers. That run was also by number 2, Jacob Mena. That's his first carry of the night.
So we're seeing early on elements of a spread offense. That's a play that you'll see run oftentimes at the college level, Max. The little pop pass, a touch pass as it's sometimes called. And actually statisticians will count that as a pass because it is a forward pass, technically by rules of football, but really all it is a version of a jet sweep. And oftentimes if you run it well, it can be successful.
That's pretty interesting, Cameron. Onate blitzing pretty hard here. Number 11 scrambling out to the right side of the field, sends it out. That is going to be an incomplete pass. 10:16 left to go here in the first quarter. After that incomplete pass intended for number 2, it's going to be 3rd and 5 for the Panthers.
So we saw Onate close pretty late there on the delayed blitz, but a good job of number 11, the quarterback Marcos Ramos, of evading the pressure and being patient. He waited until he saw Mena in the corner of his eye. Therefore, he wasn't able to take, or he didn't take the intentional grounding penalty, which would have set up a 3rd and non-manageable 3rd and 15.
Yeah. Now, Cameron, I don't have exact stats here, but that Marcos Ramos is a pretty big guy and obviously has some solid physicality, but not too quick. You don't usually see quarterbacks look like O-linemen, Cameron.
Well, you know, and especially in a spread offense, the style of offense that the Panthers run here, typically a quarterback is going to be a physically imposing force. When it comes to his legs, he has to have the ability to scramble out of the pocket any time the blitz comes, especially on the delayed blitz like we saw there. But who knows? Remember Cardiel Jones, the quarterback at Ohio State a few years ago? The kid was 6'5", 250. He looked like a big diesel truck, but that kid could run. That could be the case here with Ramos.
Definitely, Karen. I remember Cardiel Jones's nickname was 12 Gauge because he had a heck of an arm. So let's see if Ramos follows suit tonight here at the Field of Dreams. Now 4 receivers out. Once again, Ramos fakes the handoff. Play action pass. Pressure from the left side. Sends it out to number 36, who is going to push forward, but taken down for a loss of yardage. Nice solid pressure put on the quarterback by number 3, Arastran Ronquillo, for the Panthers.
All that was right there, Max, was excellent execution by Ronquillo and his teammates on defense. That was a design play. That was supposed to be a throwback pass to Ramos, the running back, number 36 there, but because they were so quick in their execution, they stayed true to their assignments, they were able to easily blow the play up.
Exactly. Now, with the fumbled snap here, number 35 is going to be sat down in the end zone, and that is going to be, I believe, an Onate High School safety, Cameron. No, it is actually just going to be a turnover. Now, that was nearly a safety, Cameron. It's going to be a turnover, actually, and the Knights are going to have it 1st and 10 deep into Gadsden territory.
Max, have you seen the Sports Center not top 10 plays of the night or plays of the week?
Absolutely.
That's going to be a not top 10 play of the month for high school football here in New Mexico. You have to be on the same page with your long snapper if you're a punter. We saw that in our game last week with the Trojans, Mayfield Trojans. You can't start out a game like that. You have to be able to execute in the simplest of form.
Exactly, Karen. Maintain momentum. Those special teams errors are unacceptable. Starting quarterback for the Knights, Aaron Sanchez is going to take it out here. One man handoff to the running back who's going to take it into the end zone. And that is going to be an Onate High School touchdown. First score of the night. That'll put the Knights up 6 over the Panthers with 0 points. 9:21 left to go in the first quarter.
How about that for an easy first drive, Max?
Exactly.
1 yard, a simple, quick handoff through the A-gap. It doesn't get much better than that if you're the Knights and you have such a big special teams blunder by your opponents to start out the game.
A little bit of luck, a little bit of execution, but that's a big dub right there for the Knights to get that momentum started off. 6 points on the board. Kicker Rico looking to make it 7. And the few Onate students here look pretty energized after that score. Rico sends it through the uprights. That will make the score Knights 7, Panthers 0 with 9:21 left to go in the first quarter.
Max, look over at those Gadsden Panther fans who made the trip up from Anthony this evening. Even the team, they look dumbfounded. They're over there going, what the heck just happened? And quite frankly, I don't know what just happened. You can't start off a game any worse than what we just saw on special teams. They have to get in sync.
Definitely. Who can blame them? And after those very, very solid runs by running back number 36, Andreas, and those catches by receiver number 2, Jacob Mena.
That's right, Max. They had a little bit of momentum there on offense. They had a 3rd and 5, which was pretty manageable. The play got blown up, but we didn't see anything particularly wrong with their first drive. Sometimes you have to punt it away. They didn't go 3 and out. They were able to move the ball a little bit. Their special teams has to hold up their end of the bargain.
All right, now Jared Rico out here once again to kick off for Onate after putting 7 on the board. My last play. 9:21 left to go in the first quarter.
And once again, we see the returners positioned at the 10-yard line. We'll see if Rico kicks it deep.
Looks like he will. Cameron out to the left side. He's going to be a touchback once again. And now it looks like I said this just a couple minutes ago. Well, I did say this just a couple minutes ago. The Gadsden Panthers are going to take the ball, offense starting out on their own 20-yard line, down 7 against the Knights.
You want to make a statement here if you're a Gadsden Panther on offense. You have to recover from the mistake made by your long snapper and your punter on special teams. Don't get out of the game too early. We have 9 minutes and 21 seconds left in the first quarter. You can't let your momentum be killed right away.
Yeah, I'd like to see Marcos Ramos bust out his arm right here and throw a nice solid pass. At least in a couple plays after they get some solid gains on the run. Handoff to number 36. He's going to shovel forward. Sat down at the 50-yard line. There's a flag out on the play. I believe it was a hold.
We'll see what the call is, Max. I think they're going to get a face mask on Onate.
Possibly.
I think that's going to be my guess. We'll see what the call is here.
Either way, fantastic run by number 36 for the Gadsden Panthers.
So there, it was a face mask, Max. And there you go. You tack on 15 yards to the great run. What I saw wrong on that play, you have to be able to make a tackle. Don't go for the cool play that you think is going to be on SportsCenter. Just stick to the fundamentals of sticking your head down and wrapping the kid up. They tried to bring the blitz there through the A-gap. 36 was able to do a good job of sneaking away, but still there were linebackers who had the opportunity to make the tackle for a 4-yard gain, and they just didn't do so.
Exactly. Costly penalty after a costly fail to stop that run on defense. Handoff once again to Andres Santaella, although he is going to be taken down for a loss of yardage on the play after the handoff. 8:41 left to go here in the first quarter.
And a good job on that play by the Onate defensive end. But if you see on that play, the Onate player lunged forward. He lunged for the back of the shoulder pad on that play. He didn't lunge at the lower body of number 36. They're looking for those spotlight tackles, and that's going to get them into trouble here tonight.
Ramos lined up, hands off, play action pass, rolling out to the right side of the field, sends it to number 2, Jacob Mena, who's going to run out of bounds. Gain of 3 yards. Nice catch right there. Great job of Mena to make the quick catch, then keep his feet in bounds.
That's excellent field awareness. He knew exactly where the boundary was, and he knew to time his footing to where that boundary was in order to make that catch count on the play.
That's going to set up a 3rd and 10 for the Gadsden High School Panthers. 8:05 left to go in the first quarter. Offense is convening a bit. Now they're going to get started once again. Ramos leading the charge, number 11. 3 receivers out, 2 men accompanying him in the offensive backfield. Ramos is going to take it, drops the snap, and he is going to be sacked. I believe it may have actually been fumbled, Cameron. Let's see what the referee is going to say. And it was. That is going to give Onate High School back the ball, and they will have possession at the Gadsden High School 45-yard line, Cameron.
Okay, what's going on here? Do we need to put these kids through a simple clinic regarding the exchange of a football from the snapper to the quarterback, or from the long snapper to the running back? They're missing out on the simplest of plays, and these kids know how to play. I don't know if it's nerves. I don't know if there's something going on internally with the team, but for Onate right now with their defense, it's like taking candy from a baby.
Exactly, Cameron. It could be a combination of both, too. Sometimes you work so hard to make those premier catches and solid runs that you miss out on just the fundamental basics of football. Very unfortunate. Aaron Sanchez out here, 4 receivers. Sends a man in motion. He's going to take it. Fakes the handoff, play action pass, dropping back. Looks out to his right side, sends it deep. And it is going to be caught. That is going to put the Onate High School Knights inside of the Gadsden red zone on their first play back on offense. That catch was made by number 4, Jared Rico. Although he is a very impressive kicker, he also does a fantastic job making plays at the wide receiver position.
They're going to go hurry up here, but what a catch. What a way to reach over the defender to bring the ball down by Jared Rico, a man of many talents.
Definitely, that senior has hands. Now Sanchez with the handoff to the running back, who's going to push forward. Just 2 yards left until the Gadsden High School end zone.
And that was a dart there by Sanchez. His offensive line stood strong there on the play before this last play. Gave him enough time to make a wise, conscious decision. And that was that's one of the most beautiful plays in all of sports. The deep pass to watch that ball hang up there in the lights, that was awesome.
Definitely. Sanchez out here in the pro set. Keeps it actually and runs it into the end zone. That's going to put another 6 on the board for the Onate High School Knights, making it Knights 13, Panthers 0 with 7:16 left to go in the first quarter. I like that quick sneak, Cameron. He faked the handoff to number 6, Cameron Salas, who took the ball on the play beforehand and then just tiptoed right into the end zone, put 6 on the board.
Easy stuff, Max. And I talked about before kickoff, this is going to be a good opportunity for Onate to get some things moving in motion. Speaking offensively, and that's what they've done so far tonight due to the efforts of their defense.
Rico's going to put it through the uprights, and that will make the score. Onate Knights 14, Gadsden Panthers 0 with 7:16 left to go in the first quarter. Cameron, it seems like Gadsden High School is sort of stuck in this unfortunate, perpetual cycle where offense will go onto the field, make some fantastic plays, but then have a costly penalty, get scored on quickly by Onate, and then they're just right back on as soon as they left.
That's right, and as we spoke about before the kickoff on the first touchdown drive, there was nothing wrong with the drives being put together by the Panther offense, but it's the fundamentals. They have to start paying attention, and those are very elementary, minor mistakes made by the Panthers with those 2 turnovers. They can be easily solved, but if you let those mistakes get to you all night, you could be in for a rude awakening.
Of course, and certainly not a sustainable operation. I mean, if the offense doesn't have an adequate amount of time to rest, then they're going to get tired out and be making even more mistakes than they have already. Jared Rico here to kick off. 7:16 left to go in the first quarter. Knights up 14 over the Panthers, who have 0. Once again, Gadsden has 2 men stationed at the 10-yard line. Rico sends it up deep, and that will be another Gadsden touchback. Ramos going to take the ball out here at his own 20-yard line. 1st and 10.
What a leg that kid has, Max. That was almost out of bounds behind the goalposts. That's hard to do for a college kicker in good conditions, but how about that for a high school kicker? That kid, can you imagine if he played soccer? He might play soccer. I don't know. I would not like to be a goalkeeper taking a penalty kick from Jared Rico.
Yeah, it certainly wouldn't surprise me. Very talented young man with a strong leg. 7:16 left to go in the first quarter. Gadsden offense going to come out here. 4 receivers out, 1 man accompanying Ramos in the backfield. Sends number 10 in motion, fakes the handoff, actually gives it to the second receiver, who's going to be stopped short of a Panther gain.
Man coverage there, Max. Man coverage by the linebackers, each assigned to a running back in the backfield, and a good job by number 30. A good job by Ronquillo, the outside linebacker, making the tackle there and staying on his man the entire play.
And like you were saying, that run was by Gadsden player number 30, Isaac Urbina. Panther offense taking a bit more time in the huddle. Trying to congregate for a more effective play as they have a 2nd and 8 situation with 6:40 left to go in the first quarter. They're going to send out 5 receivers here, Cameron. No one with Ramos in the backfield. Shifts 30 over to the left side of the field. There are going to be flags out here.
I think we're going to get an offside on the Knights. They tried to time the blitz in accordance with the snap count there, and they didn't time it correctly. That's a risky run anytime you try and time a blitz like that. They'll just have to fix it up for next time.
For sure, and I'm sure the Gadsden offense anticipated that, putting 5 receivers out and leaving Ramos by himself. After that penalty, it's going to be 2nd down and 3 for the Panthers. 6:25 left to go in the first quarter. Knights 14, Gadsden 0.
So they'll go 4 wide here on this play in the pistol. Interesting.
Ramos sends number 2 in motion, fakes the handoff, sends it deep left, and it is going to be caught by the Gadsden receiver. He's at the 30-yard line, rushing down the 20, turns on the afterburners, the 10. He is in the end zone. That will put up Gadsden High School's first points of the night, making the score Knights 14, Panthers 6. What a fantastic throw there by Mr. Ramos. You know, the fake handoff wasn't too convincing, but he certainly made up for it. Great accuracy.
How about that Ramos to Ramos on that play? Joe Kane Ramos was the wide receiver who came down with it and was able to get the 6 points. He had an amazing stutter step there on that play, totally burnt out to the defender and left him in his tracks and was able to walk into the end zone.
Absolutely. Now another high snap again, and it is negated. That is going to be no PAT for the Gadsden High School Panthers. Cameron, can these kids not snap a ball to save their life?
I'm not sure, Max, and like I said, it's a very simple task to ask a football player, and I would venture to guess that these kids do know. It might be nerves. Like I said before, there might be something going on within the team. I'm not sure, but they're going to need to figure that out because an 8-point margin could be a heck of a lot different with 2 minutes left to go in the game when you're compared to facing a 7-point margin. That could be important later on.
Oh, absolutely. 6:03 left to go in the first quarter. After the negated PAT, but the Onate defense, that will make the score Knights 14, Panthers 6. Not a fantastic turnout for the Onate High School student section, Cameron.
There aren't a bunch, Max. Maybe they're not motivated by the performance of their team early on in the season, but with the way their offense has been playing so far, being able to put up 14 points in a span of 5 minutes, that might serve as a spark for their student body down there.
Exactly. Well, they should be excited. They have the possibility of getting their first one of the season. 6:03 left to go in the first quarter. Knights 14, Panthers 6 as Gadsden kicks off. Number 35, the kicker sends it down. Return to pick up at the 10-yard line. Runner's going to take it out and be sat down at the Onate High School 45-yard line.
Careful. You have to be careful there. The kid had a hole for just a second and it looked like he might break it away to the end zone. The special teams of the Panthers, they have to learn to execute in all facets of their assignments here.
Impressive kick there by the Knights by number 41, Johnny Gutierrez, the sophomore.
And that sets them up with good field position. Anytime you have the opportunity to start a drive on your own 45-yard line, a coach is going to want to take that. That's good for his offense.
5:55 left to go in the first quarter. Knights 14, Panthers 6. Onate has the ball 1st and 10. It's going to be a quick flag out. Looks like one of the Onate assistant coaches stepped over the line onto the field. Alrighty then. Box pretty stacked here. 3 receivers out for Sanchez. He's going to take it and hand it off. Running back going to be set down for a solid gain of 5 yards on the carry. There's an additional flag out. That run was by Cameron Salas.
We might have a late hit there, Max. It is going to be a personal foul, actually, on Onate. Things got a little chippy down there. It looks like they called it on one of the big old linemen. I'm not too sure what happened down there, but clearly there was some extracurricular activity that ensued between the two teams after the whistle was blown.
It is going to be a holding penalty on the Knights, and that is going to set them back.
And it wasn't a hold because the ref signaled up a personal foul. The PA announcer here just called it a hold. That's why they set him back that amount of yardage there on that play.
Gotcha. Well, either way, that's going to send them back 10 yards, making repeat of downs 2nd and 20, for the Knights. Sanchez is going to take it 4 receivers out, hands it off once again. Running back powers forward.
You know,
That should be a solid gain of 4 or 3 yards on the play. Cameron Salas once again
is doing a pretty good job of chipping away at the Gadsden Panther front 7 so far tonight. Anytime you're able to gain 5 or 6 yards on a run, you're doing your job as a running back, and you're doing your job as an offensive line, as long as that is consistent.
Exactly. Neither of these defenses are performing particularly well, Cameron. I think Gadsden more so, but still. 4:56 left to go in the first quarter. Sanchez takes it, drops back, pressure from the left side. He's still staying cool in the pocket, sends it deep, and it is caught by the Onate High School receiver. I believe that was number 11, Jaden Diaz, the junior wide receiver and defensive back. Wow, Cameron.
A great catch by Jaden Diaz there on that play. But that credit needs to go to the offensive line. They hung in there. They gave Sanchez all day to throw.
Absolutely. Looks like they had a hurry-up play there, run by Monroe Young up the left side of the field.
And the hurry-up after a big play is a strategy used by coaches at any level. It's with the intent of catching the defense with their head on a swivel, catching them in a bit of a frenzy after the long play.
It's going to make it 2nd and 3rd Knights. Another run by Cameron Salas.
So the 2 quick run plays, and it easily sets them up with the 1st and goal. A lot of options to work with here for the Knights.
Sanchez will take the ball, fakes the handoff, play action pass the middle of the field, and it is dropped. Just as Jaden Diaz made that fantastic. Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry, that was number. No, that was Jaden Diaz. I'm sorry, that was number 5, Brennan Valise. My mistake. Yeah, very unfortunate incomplete pass there. Cameron could have put 6 on the board for Onate, but still it's 2nd and goal, and they're going to have a couple more opportunities to do so.
Yep, you have to catch the ball. You have to pay attention. Don't start celebrating before there's something to celebrate for.
Exactly. All right, now Aaron Sanchez is going to fake the handoff to Salas and take it inward, just 2 yards short of the Gadsden High School end zone.
And that's a smart play. I like the play call there by Coach Valise and his offensive coordinator. I think the Gadsden Panthers were expecting pass on that play, and when Sanchez tucked it away and ran with it, it caught him off guard a little bit, and it sets him up with a very manageable 3rd and goal play at about the 2-yard line.
Exactly. And just like that quarterback keeper, I also have to give Sanchez credit on his passing game. He's certainly adapting more to the spread offense, although Brendan Valise did not make that catch earlier. It was a fantastic throw. Now with that run into the end zone, that is going to put another 6 on the board for the Onate High School Knights, making the score Onate 20, Panthers 6, courtesy of number 26, Cameron Salas. Jared Rico is going to come out here, attempting to make the PAT with number 11, Jaden Diaz, holding for him. 3:34 left to go in the first quarter. Knights 20, Panthers 6. Rigo puts the uprights nearly blocked. That'll make the score Knights 21, Panthers 6 with 3:34 left to go in the first quarter.
All right, Max, are you ready?
Absolutely.
I'm about to drop a serious mathematical, numerical analysis on you right now.
Go for it, Cameron.
Onate, through their first 4 games, has averaged 18 points a game on offense, including the 7-point output that they had last week versus the Rio Rancho Rams. They have 21 points here, and we're not even at the 3-minute mark of the first quarter. Let's say they don't score another touchdown for the rest of this game, or for the rest of this quarter, but they replicate their performance in each of the next 3 quarters. They're on pace to score 84 points in this game, and if you want to look at it as a glass half empty type of guy, Gadsden is on pace to give up 84 points in a high school football game.
Absolutely, Cameron. I think that's the exact way that the Gadsden high school fan section is looking at it, but still very impressive. I mean, you can, like I was saying earlier, this spread offense is definitely developing very, very well, and they've already, I believe you said they were averaging 7 points a game, Cameron, so they've already outscored their average by 3 times over.
No, actually, they're averaging 18 points a game, and they've already outscored their average. Last week, they only put up 7 against Rio Rancho. Now, granted, that's a tough defense that the Rams have, but anytime you're going to follow up a lackluster performance with 21 points in the first quarter on offense, you have to be very impressed with yourselves.
I absolutely am. That's going to be a touchback once again for the Panthers. 3:34 left to go in the first quarter. Knights 21, Panthers 6, starting out 1st and 10 on their own 20-yard line.
So Gadsden, we can't lose sight of the fact, Max, that Gadsden had a beautiful pass play, and their offense has been clicking so far tonight. They just have to stay away from the dumb mistakes, and they just have to keep it going like we saw in the last drive with the beautiful long pass play from Ramos to Ramos.
Exactly. Ramos is going to send number 10 in motion, fakes the handoff, gives it to number 36, who's going to be sat down for a gain of no yards on the carry. That was number 36, Andres Santea. 3:22 left to go in the first quarter. Knights 27, Panthers 6. Panthers are going to have this 2nd and 9 at their own 21-yard line.
I'm sorry, Max. I didn't mean to cut you off there. If you're Gadsden, you've already recognized 9 minutes into the game that you're not going to win this game on defense. Completely remove the idea of defense wins championships from tonight's game. That's not going to happen. They have to keep up with Onate's scoring when they're on offense.
Now Ramos sends it out outside of bounds with the pressure put on him. That's going to be an incomplete pass to set up a 3rd and 9.
This is a crucial play, Max. This is the most crucial play that we're gonna see so far in the first quarter. They have to convert. They have to get some sort of momentum on offense because, as I said before, it's not going to happen on defense, and they can't put themselves in a 15-point hole to go into the second quarter. That kills your morale on offense and on defense.
Definitely. Looks like they're going to have to come out guns blazing on this 3rd and long. Ramos drops back, pressure on him, and he will be sacked very brutally. That was courtesy of number 57 for the Onate High School Knights, Ivan Perez. I'd also like to give another shout-out to number 30, Ervin Miramontes. I believe we went to school with him, Cameron, in middle school of the Onate High School Knights. That solid D-line for Onate has done a great job of putting pressure on Ramos and making him make some costly mistakes.
Absolutely, and for number 57, Ivan Perez, the player who made the play right there, that's the easiest sack he's ever going to come up with in his life. He practically walked through the offensive line there. Oh, and you saw in that play, I'm going to cut myself off. Scott Valise ran down the sideline in order to get the timeout in before the ball was snapped. The ball was, in fact, snapped. Not sure the long snapper heard the whistle, and when he snapped it, it went right over the punter's head. If Scott Valise wouldn't have called a timeout on that play, it would have been a safety, and it would have been 23-6 Panthers. An unfortunate break there for the Knights, but clearly Scott Valise saw something that he didn't like with the way his punt coverage team, or his punt return team, was set up.
You know, Cameron, no matter the outcome of this game, win or lose for the Gadsden High School Panthers, although it's certainly looking at the ladder at this point, that long snapper is going to have a grueling week of practice to prepare for their next game. 2:15 left to go in the first quarter. Knights up 21 over the Panthers with 6 points. 4th and 21 for the Panthers after that timeout by head coach for the Knights, Scott Veliz. And then Cameron. So snap once again, still a bit high. Punter kicks it out to nearly the 40-yard line for Gadsden. Is going to be received by Onate after the returner number 11, Jaden Diaz, bobbled it a bit. Now the Knights offense is going to come out here with fantastic, well not fantastic, but pretty substantial field position on the Gadsden High School 35-yard line with 2:08 left to go in the first quarter.
Again, Max, we saw a very high snap by the long snapper, but a good job by number 35, the punter, Sergio Juarez, of coming down with it, and he remained composed, although there were 3 Knights closing in on him at top speed.
Exactly. Aaron Sanchez out here with 3 receivers. Drops back, looking out to his right side, sends it deep, and it is incomplete.
Looked like a little bit of miscommunication there between Sanchez and his receiver, number 4, Jared Rico. I think he was expecting Rico to come back at around the 10-yard line. Instead, Rico was told to run a vertical route or a post route, and he was ready to catch the ball around the 5-yard line. And you have to be careful in those situations of miscommunication because the safety almost came away with the interception on that play.
For sure, and I'm sure the Panthers would have loved that. 2:03 left to go in the first quarter. Aaron Sanchez out here once again. Snap a bit low, sends it out quick. Number 24, Monroe Young on the left side, who is going to run forward for a short gain.
Pass is complete from Sanchez to number 26, Cameron Salas.
And it all goes back to what I said before the game, Max. You want to see your offense click in a game like this, especially to get you ready for the rest of your district play. This is another great opportunity for Coach Veliz to see if his offense can click when they get the ball at their own 35-yard line to start the drive.
Sanchez getting blitzed off the right side, sends it out to the right, and it is going to be caught. Now we'll set up another Knight first down. Solid catch by number 5, Brandon Veliz. 1:33 left to go in the first quarter. 1st and 10 Knights.
Brandon Veliz, although he's only a junior, I saw on Coach Veliz's Twitter account that the UTEP football program, Sean Klugler, was showing interest in him as a player.
Sanchez breaking out of the pocket, pressure, nearly sacked, scrambling out to the left side of the field. He is going to be taken down. And that tackle right there was courtesy of the safety for the Panthers, number 30, whose name I didn't quite catch. Let's see.
And you saw right there,
And that was
Coach
actually
Veliz,
the linebacker. Sorry, Cameron. That was actually the linebacker, Isaac Ordubina. But please continue.
You saw Coach Veliz get in the face of his quarterback after that play, telling him to throw it away, don't take the sack, just throw it out of bounds, use your arm strength to avoid the yard lossage. That's not a word.
Sanchez with the handoff, number 26, Cameron Salas, turns on the speed and hustles forward. That's going to be a solid gain of 9 yards
So
on the
with
carry.
with the loss of yardage, I think that's what I meant to say, not whatever I said. It was very incoherent. It sets you up with a 3rd and 7, which most people would consider to be a 3rd and long. That's why Coach Veliz wanted Sanchez to throw it away so they wouldn't be set up with a situation like the one they're in now.
Sanchez once again the pro set and the handoff to Cameron Salas, who's going to be running up right side of the field, taken down just short of Onate High School first down. Okay. Now as the clock is winding down, that is going to take us to the end of the first quarter here at the Field of Dreams. Score Onate Knights 21, Panthers 6. Now with that and the break here, I'm going to put on our new play-by-play announcer, Carr Robinson from Centennial High School.
All right, Carr. Well, let me be the first to welcome you. Are you excited to call the second quarter here tonight?
Yes, I am, Cameron.
You know, some things I've seen early on is Gadsden has had too many blunders there on special teams. The snaps are way too high. They can't seem to make a tackle on kickoff coverages, and that has given Onate a 15-point advantage going into the second quarter. But there are some signs of life in the Gadsden Panthers. Their offense, with the exception of their last drive, seemed to be clicking pretty well. It's not over yet, but I think it's critical in the second quarter that they don't leave themselves in a huge hole before halftime.
Yes, and it just seems, Cameron, that Onate's offense is just capitalizing on all the mental mistakes made by Gadsden's defense.
Absolutely. You see them get the ball back with excellent field position like we saw in their first touchdown. They got the ball back at the 1-yard line. You can't ask for much better than that. And you have to credit the Onate offense for, like you said, capitalizing on those mental mistakes by the Panthers.
And Aaron Sanchez is about to line up on the play. Hands it off, quarterback option. And Aaron Sanchez takes it for about a gain of 4 yards.
And I like the play call there. They went for it on 4th down, which I think is a wise decision. Anytime you have it inside your opponent's 20-yard line in the high school game here, you should go for it because the chances of kicking a field goal aren't great. Although they do have a very talented kicker in Rico, I've never really seen him kick a field goal of that distance beyond an extra point.
Salas throws. Touchdown, Knights. And that touchdown is courtesy of number 24, Monroe Young. And Monroe Young, he has gotten or earned a lot of scholarships lately.
Absolutely. The kid comes from excellent bloodlines. His brother is going to school for free to play football at New Mexico State right now, lining up for the Aggies just like their dad did. Fred Young, who was a standout New Mexico State Aggie, and later on he played in the NFL. The kid has excellent bloodlines, and because of that, you see the raw athleticism on both sides of the ball, lining up as a safety and as a wide receiver.
And number 4, Jared Rico, is good on the point after.
So, like you said before, Monroe Young has many scholarship offers. The ones that I'm aware of, there are 5 of them. He has offers to New Mexico State, UNM, Eastern New Mexico, UTEP, and the Air Force Academy. And to get an offer to a place like the Air Force Academy or really any service academy, that speaks to your talent as a high school football player. You have to be a standout player for your team in order to get offered by a service academy. And clearly, Coach Calhoun up in Colorado Springs thinks very highly of Mr. Young.
No question, Cameron. And Jared Rico, number 4, is about to kick off. And the time is 11:40 in the second quarter. Jared Rico lining up to attempt this kickoff.
I want to see if Jared Rico can kick it through the uprights here. This kid, as I was telling Max in the first quarter, this kid has a serious left leg.
Yes. He sends it high and... Oh. The receiver runs up and seems to be tackled just on the 13-yard line, Cameron. And that is the first non-touchback for Jared Rico of the night.
That's right. And a different method, but the same result there for the Panthers. They didn't take the touchback there on the play, but they were able to run it back out to the 20-yard line, which is the same as a touchback.
And Marcos Ramos is about to take on the Onate defense with a 4 wide receiver set. He snaps the ball, hands it off to number 2, Jacob Menez.
And we saw Mena in the first quarter take the pop pass and go for a substantial gain. I believe it was on the first series for the Panthers there. A solid gain on first down anytime you can get 5 yards. It sets you up for second and pretty manageable, which is good to keep the drive alive. You don't have to score on every play. You don't have to gain 35 or 40 yards on every play. You just have to keep chipping away at the defense with every snap.
And with the courtesy of that run, it is now 2nd and 6. There are 3 wide receivers on the play. He takes the snap and hands off to the running back. Oh, fumble there, as it seems that Gadsden has recovered.
A lucky break there, Carr. Very lucky for number 36, Andres Santea. The ball bounced back right to him. He has to be a little bit more aware of what's going on, of any approaching defenders, because the ball just popped right out on first contact there on that play.
And it just seems like the mental mistakes keep on building for Gadsden. Hands it off and is tackled behind the line of scrimmage by the Onate defense.
You know, Carr, I'm interested to see if Gadsden's going to elect to throw it deep. We saw a couple series ago the beautiful touchdown pass from Ramos to Joe Kane Ramos. I'm a little surprised that they're not attempting the deep passes after that big success there in the first quarter.
Yes, and Marcos Ramos is set to take on hands play action. Throws to his right, incomplete.
And you just have to execute there. You have to put a little bit more air under the ball and give your wide receiver, or in that case your check down running back, the opportunity to catch the ball. And I understand that for a right-handed quarterback, a play action rollout pass to your left is going to be a little bit more difficult, but that's what practice is for. You have to get your timing right on plays like that.
And this brings up 3rd and 12, Cameron, with 10:14 left to go in the second quarter. There are 4 wide receivers on the play. Oh, and a false snap. And it is recovered by Gadsden. And then yet again, another mental mistake by the Gadsden Panthers.
Holy cow, man. I don't know if these kids, their hands, there's something wrong with their gloves here. Maybe there's butter all over them. I don't know, Max. You're back here in the booth laughing at me, but I can't figure out what's wrong with these kids. You have to hold on to the ball. That's the first rule of football for any skill position player.
And kicker Johnny Gutierrez is set. Oh, and another long snap. And he juggles it. He gets the pass off to number 5.
And we have a flag on the play, but this is just a comedy of errors, Carr, especially on special teams. You saw another high snap. We haven't seen a decent snap all night from the long snapper to the punter. And I believe the call is going to be on the Panthers, which they're going to rule number 5 to be an ineligible player on the play. And, you know, that was the definition of a broken play on special teams. And you have to credit the punter Juarez for doing his best on the play to try and make something out of nothing. But because of that, the player was not able to reach the line again. And even if he were to reach the line again, he was ineligible because he lined up as a blocker on the play.
And it is 1st and 10 for the Knights with 9:26 left to go in the second quarter. And a key player to look on this drive is Monroe Young, as he has had a couple of big plays.
Definitely, and they're going to line up 5 wide here, which is more than likely going to signal a pass.
And Aaron Sanchez, the quarterback keeper, it looks to be about just short of the Knight first down.
You know, I think I spoke too soon there. I believe that was drawn up. I think Sanchez wanted to spread out the box there with his 5 wide receivers and create a little lane for himself to run through, which worked out. He gained 8 yards on the play.
And yet again, here's another 5 wide receiver set. Takes the snap, and yet another run by Aaron Sanchez, and he is taken down at about the 15-yard line for a Knight first down.
So that's exactly what he's doing. He's waiting for the outside defenders, especially on the left side of the offensive line, to crash, and the second they crash, he tucks it away and runs with it because he knows that there's going to be no one in the box 5 to 7 yards deep to stop him.
Same as there's 4 wide receivers on the play. Oh, and he juggles the snap. He throws to the right, and it is caught for a Knight touchdown. And this touchdown is caught by Monroe Young. Yeah, another big play for Monroe Young. The Gadsden defense just can't seem to stop this guy.
That's exactly right, Carr. How about that for offensive momentum to get you ready for the rest of your district season. 34 going on 35 points through 15 minutes of game time. That's excellent. If you're Coach Belize, you have to be very proud and very impressed with your offense and their ability to consistently score points on the ground and through the air so far tonight.
And Jared Rico makes the point after attempt. And Cameron, it seems like the Gadsden defense just can't find an answer for the big explosive offense of Onate.
They really can't. I didn't mean to cut you off there. I'm sorry. But the quarterback looked lost. He looked like he had no idea what was going on in that play when Monroe Young faked him out on the comeback route in the end zone. He didn't know how to react, and that's why Sanchez was able to connect with Young for the easy touchdown.
And a big question coming up for the Gadsden offense is Onate is pressuring on Marcos Ramos a lot during this half.
Absolutely, and as Max spoke about at the beginning of the game, it's okay to get pressure on a quarterback, especially a big guy, but he has to have the ability to scramble out of the pocket and make timely decisions, including throwing on the run. And it looks like Ramos doesn't have enough confidence in either his throwing ability or in his receiver's ability to make the catch, because he has not been tossing it out on the run so far tonight.
And number 4, Jared Rico, about to kick it off. And that kick looks high. And not another touchback. The returner looks to be at the 18-yard line for Gadsden to kick off their offense.
It's 35-6, Carl. We have 8 minutes and 26 seconds left in the second quarter. With a 29-point margin this far out from halftime, there's not a whole lot of upside for the Panthers, but, you know, I've seen some crazy things happen in high school football and college football, and you can never rule yourself out this early on, no matter what the margin is. Look at the Texas A&M UCLA game in week 1.
Oh, definitely.
A&M was up by what, 34?
Yeah, it was 34-10, and Ramos here hands it off to number 36, Andres Centella.
You just have to stick back with the fundamentals, and it's very easy to panic when you're down by 29 points with this much time left in the game, but you have to stay true to your fundamentals, because overcompensating in a certain area like a deep pass isn't going to get you any further along when you can't execute the basic ideas of football, including snapping the ball and holding onto the ball and giving your quarterback enough time in the pocket to make a timely decision.
And right now it is 2nd and 6 on the 23-yard line. Ramos hands it off, and it looks to be stuffed just shy of the first down.
And it looks like that's what the coaching staff for the Panthers is electing to do. They're not going to try and do anything risky. They're not going to go above and beyond like in a 2-minute drill. They're just staying true to the running game here in order to establish something for the Panthers, which I completely agree with. I think that's a good call by the Panthers coaching staff.
And it just seems to me that the Knights' defense is just getting too much pressure on the offensive line.
Definitely. They need to find a way to alleviate that pressure.
Ramos play action, rolls to his left, and is sacked behind the line of scrimmage by the Knights' defense. And yet another example of pressure on the quarterback. And there is a flag on the play. And it seems to be against Gadsden.
We'll see what we have, but as we wait for the call, Carr, once again,
oh, and it seems to be unsportsmanlike conduct on the Panthers,
which will set them back even further and take away their third and manageable opportunity.
And it just, the mental mistakes seem to just be building for the Gadsden Panthers.
Oh, you know what, Carr? There were 2 unsportsmanlikes called on Onate players and only one on a Gadsden player. Because of that, it's going to be an automatic first down for the Panthers. It worked out in their favor on that play.
Ramos sets up the offense. 4 wide receivers on the play. Play action. He rolls to his right. And he is sacked behind the line of scrimmage by this Knights defense. And yet another example of pressure on the quarterback.
Definitely. A couple things on that play. First off, obviously the pressure. The defense was in the face of Ramos before he could even look up. But also, even if he was given enough time to look up, his receivers downfield aren't creating enough separation. So if Ramos had the opportunity to throw the ball on that play, he would have to throw into double or even sometimes triple coverage because his receivers aren't creating enough separation from those corners and safeties downfield.
Yes, and earlier in this half, Cameron, Jacob Mena, one of those wide receivers, caught that big play for that Gadsden touchdown.
And that was the only example of separation that we saw, and that was a great job of Mena on the stutter step to evade the corner on that play. But aside from that, these receivers seem glued to the Onate defensive backs, which speaks to the ability of these defensive backs to recover after getting battered by the Rams last week, to keep their heads in it, to stay in the fight, and to practice. And I've been saying fundamentals all night, but to practice the fundamentals of covering receiver when you're in the defensive backfield.
And this will be 2nd and 15 at the 29-yard line for Gadsden. And Ramos with 4 wide receivers on the play. Oh, and another long snap. Oh, and my mistake. Andres Centella was in the Wildcat formation for the Gadsden Panthers.
I'll tell you what, Carr, I don't know about you, but I have never liked, from going back to when I was a little kid, I've never liked the Wildcat formation. They run it sometimes with my team, the Ohio State Buckeyes. You're giving away what you're going to do on that play. You're going to let the running back take the ball and run with it, whether it be inside the tackle box or outside the tackle box. It doesn't really matter. You take away the element of surprise, and you take away the necessity for a guessing game for the defense anytime you run the Wildcat play.
And it is still 2nd and 15.
And I'm not meaning to knock the coaching staff for Gadsden. If it works for you, then by all means try it. I just don't like it from a defensive standpoint.
And Ramos rolls out to his right, and the pass will be incomplete. It will now be 3rd and 11 at the 33-yard line.
So on that play, we saw, much like a couple series ago, number 57, the defensive lineman Pettis, was able to practically walk through the line of scrimmage and get to the quarterback right away on a very easy play for him and his teammates on the defense. The offensive line, not only does it seem like they're failing to block well, they're failing to block in the first place. They're missing many assignments down there on the Panther offensive line.
And there seem to be about 4 wide receivers. Ramos sets back. There's a flag on the play. Centella runs it up to the 40, 35-30, 25-20, and seems to be out of bounds at about 12-yard line. And there was a flag on the play. I don't know what that was about. Oh, it was holding on Onate.
We'll see what the call is.
Seems to be it was false start on the Gadsden Panthers.
I didn't hear the whistle there because the play was able to get off, and it looked like it was a pretty sound play. I didn't quite catch the false start there. But aside from the procedural mistake by the offensive line, a very good job of the O-line for blocking on that play. And Centella did a good job of getting out, and he gained about 30 yards. But because of the simple procedural mistake, all that effort is going to be for nothing.
And Cameron, that just seemed to be one chance to get a big play for the Gadsden offense, a really great chance to get momentum on their side, but now they just ruined it.
That's right. We saw a little bit of momentum, just a tiny spark there on that play, which was good. That's all you're looking for if you're a Gadsden Panther fan, but because of the false start, you're back to square one, which tonight has been nothing.
And this is a timeout from Gadsden. And it just seems to me that Onate's defense is just getting more momentum, and that's just going to lead to an easier. I can't explain
no,
that.
absolutely. It's gonna anytime your defense is able to swarm to the ball carrier like the Knights have been doing so far, you're gonna be in for a pretty easy night because that's the essence of football. You have to stay to your assignments. You have to stay glued to the ball carrier, and they've been doing it well tonight. No matter which blockers have been thrown in front of them, they've been able to quickly evade them and get to the ball carrier, and that's a great sign for Coach Veliz for his team that has been giving up 53 points a game so far this season.
And it is 3rd and 11 at the 33-yard line for Gadsden. There are 4 wide receivers on the play. Ramos by himself in the backfield. Seems Andres Centella is in the backfield with him. Wide receiver in motion. Oh, it's number 5. You seem to keep that flag on the play.
And Gadsden player, I didn't quite catch who he was, absolutely lit up the Onate defender. That was ugly. That was a huge play, and they might get him for unsportsmanlike conduct or unnecessary roughness there on that play. Let's see what the call is.
Personal foul, Panthers.
And that is a personal foul, unsportsmanlike conduct on the Panthers, and the mental mistakes just seem to be building, Cameron.
Absolutely. You have to stay composed. You're down 35-6. You can't be angry at the other team because you're losing by 29 points. The only fault here in this situation is your own. Don't take it out on the other team for the fact that you can't score points or stop the Knights from scoring. That's the fault of your team, and I think it's sad anytime players get dirty like that. They should be ashamed of themselves.
And yet again, more momentum on the Onate's side.
And I hope that Onate kid's okay. Luckily, he got up really quickly. But anytime you get heated like that as a player and you decide to commit an unsportsmanlike foul like that, you're not only are you making a very dumb and immature mistake, but you're also threatening the health and safety of the opposing player, and there's no place for that in the game of football.
Yes, Cameron, it seems that the Gadsden Panthers can't get out of this hole. And yet again, they're just going to keep moving back.
And it's okay to be intense. Football is an emotional game, and it's an emotional game for spectators, and it's an emotional game for players. But part of being a well-rounded player is knowing how to keep your emotions in check.
And it seems they're going to be deep in their territory right now.
I believe that's going to be a 3rd and 37. 3rd and 37. Yes, indeed. Wow.
And it is 5:55 left to go in the second quarter. Ramos takes a snap, looks to be a quarterback keeper. And he had a gain of about 4 on the play.
Okay, so that'll set him up. It's 4th down. 4th down and, 30 plus here. Here's my suggestion, Carr. Put in the backups. Heck, put in the defensive players. Put in the kicker. Put in a player that actually wants to play, because clearly we're seeing that the offensive players for the Panthers aren't real excited about going out on the field every time. They've only put up 6 points. They're committing dumb penalties.
And Johnny Gutierrez with the long punt. Back to receive the Onate. Takes it out to about the 30. There's a flag on the play.
I'll tell you what, though, this Gadsden punter has been doing an excellent job all night. Despite the mistakes made by his teammates on special teams, he's been able to remain composed and patient, quite frankly. It's got to be hard when you see all those players running at you after you've recovered a high snap to remain composed, but he's done a good job of that tonight, and I'm very impressed.
And the flag was on the Onate side. And it believes to be a personal foul on the receiving team. The ball will be at the 48, 1st and 10 Knights. Aaron Sanchez looks to be set up with 4 wide receivers on the play.
So let's see if the Knights can score another touchdown on this drive and remain on pace to hang 84 on the Panthers.
Seems to be looking deep. He throws it deep, and it is caught. And the catch is courtesy by Jaden Diaz.
You know what? I think they're going to roll it incomplete. He might have had a foot out of bounds, but regardless, that was still a beautiful play and a great effort there by Diaz of trying to come down with the catch, even though he didn't have a whole lot of green in front of him.
And now it'll be 2nd and 10 at the 48 with 4:58 left to go in the second quarter. It's like one running back in the backfield. There's 4 wide receivers on the play. Sanchez takes a snap, pumps fakes. Oh, and incomplete. It looked like there was going to be a screen on that play, Cameron.
That's right. They tried to run the screen on that play. And anytime you call a screen pass out of the backfield, you have to relinquish some offensive linemen as blockers downfield. And that's why the defenders were able to get into the backfield, into the face of Sanchez so quickly. Very good job there by the Panthers of not being flustered by the play call and staying true to their assignment, which was the quarterback.
Sanchez takes a snap. He looks and caught at the 30. I believe it's going to be at the 31-yard line. It'll be a 1st down Knights.
Pass is complete. Sanchez, the number 5, Brandon Valise.
And the catch is courtesy of Brandon Valise.
And a good job there by Valise. He was wide open practically the entire time on that route, which makes a quarterback's job so much easier anytime your receivers can create that level of separation.
Oh, and run up the play by Cameron Salas. There's a flag on the play.
Salas on the carry. Flag of the play.
I'm guessing it might be a hold.
Oh, and this just takes away all the momentum from the Knights, who looked like they were about to go all the way down the field to score yet again another touchdown.
Yeah, and you don't want to take that away from your team, especially after breaking out a big run play, just like the one we saw right there from Salas. That's a pretty good back. I don't know if Cameron Salas gets enough credit because you have guys like Aaron Sanchez, Brandon Valise, and Monroe Young on the offense, but Salas is a workhorse, and I like the way he plays.
Sanchez hands it off to Salas, number 36. Looks to be a gain of 7 to 8 yards. But it is now 2nd and 3 at the 23-yard line. There is 3 minutes and 57 seconds left to go in the half. Sanchez looks, and it's just incomplete off the tip of. Oh, and looks, there's another flag on the play.
I didn't see what the call might be, Carver. Oh, there's the flag. Okay. A lot of penalties tonight. That's one thing. That's a delta tonight for the Onate offense. They've been able to score a lot of points. They've committed a few too many penalties, more than you'd like to see with your offense clicking like this.
Yes, and it seems like the flag is against the Gadsden Panthers.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize to the Knights. They executed a very sound play on that team. That was on the Panthers, in fact.
It is 1st and 10 at the 12. Sanchez hands it off to Salas, and he gets to about the 2-yard line. Or, yes, the 1-yard line.
A good job there by number 21, the cornerback, Andres Hernandez of the Panthers. He stood strong, and he protected his end zone from another touchdown by the Knights. Those open field tackles are very difficult to make, but Hernandez did a good job there on that play.
It's 1st down. Sanchez hands it off to Salas, and that is a Knights touchdown, courtesy of Cameron Salas.
Wow, Carr. When I made the comment to Max that the Knights were on pace to score 84 points in this game, I didn't think that would reign true for very long. But they're about to kick the extra point to go up 42-6 with 3 minutes and 20 seconds left in the half. They could score another touchdown before the half's over. We never know. But right now they're still on pace to hang 84 points on the Panthers.
And number 4, Jared Rico, is good on the point after. And Gadsden is set to receive.
So as I said before, Carr, it might be wise for the Gadsden head coach to put in some players with less experience than the starters there on offense in order to get them some real meaningful reps here under the lights versus a big-time opponent in an away game. That's good experiential learning for any player, especially the young guys. And I think this is a perfect opportunity because 42-6, don't count them out just yet. I've seen some crazier things happen in football, but you know what? They're probably not going to win this game, but it still gives them there's a lot of room to learn and a lot of room to grow, and part of that might come in putting in those second and third string players for the rest of the night.
And Jared Rico's lining up to kick it off to Gadsden. Let's see if this is going to be another touchback yet again for Jared Rico. And it will not be a touchback. Gadsden receives it. And he seems to be stopped at the 19-yard line. It'll be 1st and 10 Panthers. And I don't know, Cameron, can Ramos do anything to get some momentum on the side of Gadsden?
You know, we'll see, Carr. It certainly hasn't seemed like it, with the exception of the long touchdown play. They haven't been able to get anything going. But you have to find some sort of positive momentum, and that might mean gaining 20 yards on a drive. That might even mean not committing any penalties or turnovers on a drive. But you have to take something away that's positive from this game.
And he hands it off to Centella. And that will be a gain of about 2-3 yards. And you have to give credit to the Onate's pressure on the quarterback, though. Their defense has just been spot on tonight.
Oh, absolutely. And it reminds me of the Onate Knights defense that we saw last year with the seniors who have since graduated and moved on to college. Guys like Forrest McKee, who's at UTEP, Monroe Young, who's at New Mexico State. They play tomorrow, by the way. Jake Elmore. All those guys were standout players for the Knights, and they led a very strong defense last year.
Wide receiver handoff to number 1 on the Gadsden offense. The time for the second quarter is 1:36 left.
So a very different story, Carr. A couple weeks ago, Max and I called the Onate Atrisco game, and we saw a very similar situation. The final score was, I believe, 49-7 in favor of the Atrisco Heritage Jaguars. In that game, the Onate crowd wasn't into it. Their players weren't into it, and we see a completely different story tonight. Tonight, the Knights are the ones on the winning side of the blowout, and you have to be very happy if you're a Knights fan. It looks like they're on track to get their first win of the season tonight.
And it seems that's a timeout from Gadsden. It is 3rd and 2 with 1:11 left in the second quarter.
Carr, one thing to mention, I just peeked over at Gadsden's schedule for the rest of the season, and next week they have the Cruces Bulldogs. Now, Onate plays well, and they have some talented players, but when you talk Cruces Bulldog football, especially on offense, it's a completely different level of talent and raw athleticism with guys like Peyton Ball, Ivan Molina, Brandon Baeza, Chase Kowalapek. If they can't shut down the Onate Knights, who are barely adjusting to a completely new whole style of offense, I'm very, very concerned to see what happens next week when the Panthers take on the Bulldogs, because if you think the Knights can put up points, you should see the Bulldogs play. That could get ugly quick.
Well, with 1:11 left to go in the second quarter, what do you think Gadsden can do at halftime?
You have to find some positive to move off on. Not everything has to be negative.
Ramos hands it off to Centea.
If you can find
Gain
something
of about 2 yards.
if you can find
One.
something to work with, Carr, even the slightest thing, as I said before, if you can recognize your ability to stay away from those dumb mistakes, even if you're getting blown out by 30 plus points, it's something to build off of, and that's what the Panthers need. They don't need a victory, and they don't even need to make it close. They just need some sort of positive momentum to head in to the rest of the season.
It is now 4th and 1 at the 34 with 1:03 left to go in the second quarter. It seems like they are measuring to see if Gadsden earned that first down. And it seems like they are short of the first down. It is 4th down and 1.
4th down, and you have to kick it away here. You don't want to give up yet another touchdown. It would be embarrassing to give up nearly 50 points in one half to an opposing team. You don't want to start out district play like that if you're a Gadsden Panther.
And Johnny Gutierrez about to punt for Gadsden. And a timeout taken by Onate Knights.
And I think that's a pretty wise timeout there by Coach Vlies, just to regroup and get his team together. You don't want to make any dumb mistakes in the last 63 seconds of a half, the best half of football that they've played all year. You don't want to have any big negatives to harp on in the locker room. You want to keep up with the momentum here and not make any silly mistakes.
And it looks like Gadsden is going for it on 4th down.
Pretty risky move, but then again, it's 4th and inches, so be interested to see what the call is.
Oh, and a flag. It seems to be false start on Gadsden, and that just ruins the whole situation.
Absolutely, it does. Now you don't want to go for it because you've had a hard time gaining positive yardage so far tonight. And with 6 yards, you're backed up in your own territory. It'd be better to just punt it away.
And that was yet again another mental mistake by the Gadsden offense.
Definitely. And give your long snapper and punter some practice, some meaningful reps to get acquainted with each other for the rest of the season. We're only 4.5 games in.
Back to receive the punt for the Knights. 24.
And Johnny Gutierrez is about to punt. Oh, another high snap. He gets it off. It is going to be down at the 44-yard line.
Well, we'll be down at the 44.
And the time is 55 seconds left to go in the second quarter. 1st and 10 on Onate Knights.
I'll tell you what, as I said before, you have to credit the punter Juarez for his play tonight. The snaps that he's received have been very far from ideal, but he's stayed composed and he's averted even bigger disasters and bigger blunders tonight for the special teams of the Panthers.
And Aaron Sanchez about taking the field with the Knights offense. 5 wide receivers on the play. Sanchez by himself in the backfield. Wide receiver in motion. Fakes it. Gives it, and that will be a loss of yards for the Knights offense.
Good play there. Great field recognition. Great awareness by number 2 Mena on that play. Real quick, Carr, before halftime as the Knights are going, hurry up. The Hobbs Eagles are beating the Centennial Hawks 40-7 with 2 minutes left in the second quarter.
And Sanchez looks deep and catch. He takes it, and that is in the end zone. Touchdown on Onate Knights. And that is the end of the first half. Wow, what a way to end it. Man, and what a way to end it with a big touchdown.
What
big
an
play.
exclamation point. And they'll kick the extra point here, and I just want to point out, I believe Mercy Rule is 50 points. They're 1 point away, one score away from Mercy Rule here. But a great way to end a half. Great play by Diaz and Sanchez. Everything's clicking for the Knights offense. Their opponents better watch out here in the near future.
And Jared Rico is good on the point after attempt. The score is 49-6 at the end of the first half. What do you think is going to be the message being sent to Gadsden Panthers?
The Gadsden coaching staff has to remind their kids to stay in the fight, and we see them walking off the field right now with their heads hung low. They have to find something positive to go off of here in the second half. But for the Knights, the message is to stay consistent, not to give up any more points, and to keep up the very impressive performance so far.
And what do you think the message is going to be for the Knights as they come out with the big lead?
It's to stay consistent. It's to not give up any more points. You have to keep your head in the game and act like you've been here before. You have to stick with what's been working so far.
Yeah, and as what we've learned from the Texas A&M and UCLA game, you can't give them anything.
Definitely, Carr. Should be an interesting
And
third quarter.
And we're going to take you to the field. We will be right back for the start of the second half.
All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. After an exciting first half, the Gadsden High School Panthers are down with 6 points to the Onate High School Knights, who have 49. Now, Zane, let me introduce also my color commentator, Zane McGill, who was in with us last week. Zane, this is interesting because Onate only needs one more touchdown and an extra point to mercy rule them.
Yeah, it's a 50-point advantage. So if Gadsden, it looks like Gadsden's kicking off.
Yeah,
so
Gadsden's
if
gonna
Onate scores
off.
that touchdown, the game over.
Exactly. Sorry, Zane. I'll have to get used to this a little bit. Definitely not the night that the Gadsden Panthers had gotten planned out. The Onate Knights are coming into this game 0-4, but it looks like it's going to be 1-4 after they take this dub.
Yeah.
Now, one thing I've noticed that their offense has improved drastically. They're getting used to that spread style, heavy passing. It's definitely paid out for them, obviously, with 7 touchdowns.
Yeah, I think that's a great takeaway from this game. And that pressure on the QB.
Absolutely.
Just they've been rolling on offense through the entire first half.
Exactly. Now we're going to get the second half started out here. 12 minutes on the clock. Gadsden's going to kick off here. Sends it up deep downfield. Is going to be juggled a bit, taken back, returned right up the middle of the field. The out there returner is going. He's going. He breaks through at the 30, at the 20, at the 10. Touchdown Knights. Looked like this game might be over much sooner than we had anticipated, depending on whether or not Jared Rico puts this PAT through the uprights.
Well, how about that?
What a time to be alive,
return.
Zane McGill. Jeez. 55-6 is the score right now.
He found those lanes and just kept going it.
Absolutely. And you saw now that was returned by number 24, Monroe Young. Several offers from MSU, UTEP, and other universities. But you saw that Young sort of juggled it initially, but he regained his momentum and just absolutely rushed forward. And I have to give a lot of credit to that Onate return team. They absolutely made some fantastic lanes for Young to burst forward.
I'm looking around here to see what's going on the sidelines, and it looks like they're packing up.
Yeah, I certainly can't blame them. Let's see if Jared Rico is going to end this thing. Puts it through the uprights. Ball game, ladies and gentlemen. Final score on Onate Knights 56, Gadsden Panthers 6. Possibly. We'll have to see. We know that the margin for mercy rule is 50 points. That is going to be the ball game, ladies and gentlemen. The Onate High School Knights very happy to get their first win of the season. Onate High School 56, Panthers 6. Only 4 seconds into the second half. Zane, looks like we get to go home early tonight. Key takeaways from this Onate High School win for you.
Pressure from Onate and the quarterback. They just kind of walked in there, got and just sacked him immediately. And
Certainly.
then the passing game, their offense was working and rolling through the entire night.
Exactly. And, it's not that difficult once you click with some key receivers like Monroe Young, the one who returned that kickoff right there to end the game. Yeah. Brandon Valise, number 5. And you have some fantastic running backs like number 26, Cameron Salas. Now, as far as the Gadsden Panthers, though, although they got absolutely destroyed, I think they understand what they need to improve on. The primary thing being special teams. Practically every snap was high, Zane.
Yeah. Once Onate went up by about 20 points, you just saw that there was no drive by the Gadsden Panthers.
Absolutely. Now the Onate High School Knights are going to be happy, improving their record to 1-4 as Gadsden comes out of this 1-4 as well with their 4th loss of the season. Now next week, Friday night at the Field of Dreams, we're going to be calling the Centennial High School Carlsbad Cavemen game. I'm pretty excited for that matchup. Currently, Centennial High School, Zane and I's school, is getting their butts kicked right now by Hobbs.
Yeah.
Very, very unfortunate.
I hope everyone who's listening right now goes out and supports the NMSU Aggies versus UTEP.
Absolutely. Battle of I-10 there. We better take down the Miners tomorrow night. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's been fun hanging out with you guys for 2 quarters and 4 seconds. Hope to see you back next week.